You are listening to 600 Second Saga. Today's feature is The Screaming of the Fish by Vincent W. Sikowski. I once had a friend who had a fishbowl for a brain, so needless to say, he had a rather large head. But he carried it well, powerful neck muscles built up over the years, and he carried it with pride. He changed the water regularly. He liked to keep it fresh. But he also lost a lot of it since he was an avid jogger. Despite his strength and poise, sometimes that water bounced right out of there. He never worried about it, though, or complained about the loss. The water kept him cool inside and out. There wasn't anything he could do about the evaporation, but he always carried a full water bottle just to be safe. The two goldfish in the bowl didn't seem to be too crazy about him jogging every day. With all the rocks from the bottom getting stirred up, swishing around and scraping their sides. Way too many scars over the years. But what could they say? My friend kept them well fed. They certainly got their exercise. And even though they were stuck in a small home, they were able to see a lot of sights. Especially since my friend liked to jog a new route every day if he could. He enjoyed new scenes himself. Folks thought he was a pretty strange sight, and since he passed some new people each day, word about him traveled fast. So he was often sought after, and although there was little he could do about the video cameras and photographers, he never granted an interview. Neither did he pay any attention to the occasional rude person who would call such lame remarks as, "I see you have a little water on the brain today, buddy," and "Do you mind if I go fishing with you sometime?" and "Do you want me to feed your fish while you're away?" It didn't matter who was doing the shouting, and it didn't matter what they were shouting out, or if his two fish could speak and they could tell him all the unpleasantness of the bouncing around in the bowl swimming for their lives, and how his knee joints were getting rubbed raw, and how he was developing shin splints, and if he wasn't careful how... None of this mattered, because he wasn't much of a listener. In fact, he couldn't hear anything at all. No ears. He only felt the pressure of their voices, the pressure of the sounds, and the pressure said enough. And he was quite happy not to know any more than that. Until the day he died. My friend died while jogging, of course. He tripped over somebody's chihuahua, which happened to get off its leash. So even though the dog was barking, and the owner was trying to call it back and shouting at my friend at the same time, and even I was foolishly trying to warn him, my friend didn't hear a word. He only felt the sudden agonizing pressure from all around. It caught him totally unaware, confusing him, so he tripped over the chihuahua. And man, did those fish fly. Just as the fishbowl shattered on the sidewalk, the chihuahua scurried over to the flying fishes, and it snapped one right out of the air. The dog quickly chewed that goldfish, likely hoping to get the other one before it got too dirty on the sidewalk. Not that the dog still wouldn't eat it anyway, mind you. The second goldfish lay there flopping around in its own small way, gasping, gills contracting, watching its schoolmate being gobbled up. What else could it do? Without wasting another moment, I scrambled over to the second goldfish. I popped it in my mouth, hoping the moisture would keep it alive, until I could squeeze it into my friend's water bottle, or into a glass of water, or a fountain, or... But it was still flopping around in my mouth, so much so that I accidentally, or perhaps instinctively, swallowed it. As the goldfish digested, I got a real taste of my friend's memories, his life, particularly before he met me. And, although I'm not sure if I understand him any better, I'm just really glad that he kept his fishbowl so clean. This was The Screaming of the Fish by Vincent W. Sikowski. Vincent is a writer, musician, dramatist, and more. He is the author of the anti-epic novel of the surreal, Some Things Are Better Left Unplugged, and the Wonderland Award-nominated short fiction collection, Misadventures in a Thumbnail Universe. Check our show notes for links. Vincent lives in Saskatoon, Canada, and is at work on his latest novel. Find more from Vincent Zakowski on Twitter or Facebook. Check our show notes for links. Music is provided by Mads. Learn more about 600 Second Saga, our authors, how to submit your flash fiction, and how to support the podcast in the show notes. This has been Mariah Avix and 600 Second Saga.